mouth parts of insects. Insects possess a variety of different mouth types, each of which can be grouped under one or two main categories: chewing and sucking. The chewing type of mouth parts are called as mandibulate, and sucking type is a haustellate type of mouth parts. Mandibulate mouth parts are most primitive. All others, including those categorized as haustellate, are presumed to have evolved as modification of this basic type. The generalized type of mouth parts consist of the upper lip or labrum. The two jaw-like structures on both sides are called as mandibles. Then the maxillae. The maxillae are also two, a pair of maxilla. Singular is called as maxilla. Then lower lip is labium. So the upper lip is labrum, the lower lip is labium. In between we have the mandibles and the maxillae and the hypopharynx is another structure. So these constitute the mouth parts of an insect. Modifications of insect mouth parts are mandibulate type. How the mandibulate type of mouth parts are modified? They are the generalized or the typical biting and chewing type of mouth parts. The biting and the chewing type of mouth parts is seen in grasshoppers, cockroaches. Chewing and lapping type of mouth part in honeybees, and mandibulo-suctorial type in antlions. Mainly the larval stages, that is antlion grub. Haustellate type of mouth part consisting of piercing and sucking hemipterous type of mouth parts. This is seen in plant bugs. The next, piercing and sucking in the dipterous insects, the blood-sucking insects like mosquitoes. The female mosquitoes are having the piercing and sucking. Mouth parts are sucking the blood. Rasping and sucking type of mouth parts in thrips. Sponging type in houseflies, and siphoning type moths and butterflies. Biting and chewing type of mouth parts in cockroach and grasshoppers. It's a primitive type of mouth part and consists of the following parts. The first part is labrum, or the upper lip. Is a flap-like bilobed structure, and it is attached to the clypeus of the head region by an articular membrane. It helps to pull the food into the mouth. The labrum is the anterior-most mouth part. It holds the food in position so that mandibles can act on it. So its main function is holding the food. It forms the roof of the preoral food cavity. So it is mainly holding the food material, so the mandibles will act upon the food material. Then coming to labrum, the inner surface of the labrum is referred as epipharynx. It is frequently membranous and continues the dorsal wall of the pharynx. It is organ of taste. The epipharynx is covered with chemoreceptors and mechanoreceptors used in food selection. Muscles attach the labrum, move it outward, away from the other mouth parts, and inward towards the other mouth part during feeding. Some limited lateral movements are also possible. Then coming to mandibles. There is a pair of mandibles. They are first pair of jaws. They are also called as primary jaws or true jaws. Mandibles articulate with the cranium at 2 points. So the articulation point is 2 points. They are heavily sclerotized. They are toothed on their inner border. There are two types of teeth. The distal or the sharply pointed and are called as incisor or the cutting teeth. The proximal teeth are called as molar or grinding teeth. They act transversely to bite and grind the food into small fragments. The diagram also you can see how the mandibles will be acting. The pterygode and the apterygode type of mandibles. Mandibles of primitive wingless insect of Archaeognatha have only the articulation in the head capsule, but it is only 1 point the articulation will be seen. Movement about the point of articulation is accompanied with anterior and posterior rotar muscles. Mandibles of Pterygota have 2 points of articulation head capsule. Movement about the points of articulation is accompanied by abductor muscles and abductor, it's opening muscles and closing abductor muscle. Two types of muscles are there. Abductor muscles in many pterygoids are extremely powerful. These muscles are homologous with the rotor muscles in Archaeognatha. So different Archaeognatha and also the pterygoids, there will be difference in the muscles. Then maxillae. They are paired and more complicated than mandibles. The diagram also we can see the maxillae. They are called as secondary jaws or accessory jaws. At proximal end of first sclerate cardo, the first one is cardo, the first sclerate, the first segment is cardo, joins the maxilla to the head. Point of articulation of the head region we can see in the diagram. The second sclerate is called stipes. To articulate with the cardo. First is cardo, second stipes. Stipes carries a lateral sclerate called palpebral, which bears a 5-segmented antennal-like maxillary pulp. We can see the maxillary pulp. They are 5-segmented maxillary pulp. On the distal end of the stipes, so cardo, stipes, then at the distal end of the stipes, two lobes. The outer lobe is called the gallia and the inner lobe is called lecinia, with our tooth. Maxilla direct the food into mouth. They hold the food in place when the mandibles are in action. They act as auxiliary jaws and assist in mastication of food. Sense organs connected with the perception of touch, smell and taste are abundantly found in palpi, that is maxillary pulpi. In addition to the role in directing food into the mouth, the gallia is used to clean the pulps, antennae and forelegs. So they are the additional functions of maxillae. Muscle attachments are roughly similar to those of the mandible. Lateral abductor muscles are attached to the tentorium. Labium. It is composite structure formed by fusion of two primitive segmented appendages. The labium is posterior most mouth part is erected from the fusion of two maxillae-like appendages. It forms the protective lower lip to the mouth. It consists of 3 median sclerites. So first one is submentum, large basal sclerite. Next one is the mentum, the middle sclerite, and the prementum, the apical sclerite. So 3 types of sclerites are there: submentum, mentum and the prementum. The diagram also we can clearly see the submentum, mentum and the prementum. On lateral side of the prementum there are 2 small lateral sclerites called palpebra bearing 3 segmented labial palpi. Here the labial pulp is 3 segmented. Distal prementum bears 2 pairs of lobes. The outer pair of lobes is called the paraglossa and inner pair of lobes the glossa. So paraglossa and both pairs when fused are called as ligula. Muscle attachment are roughly similar to those of maxillae with some attachment to tentorium, endoskeleton. Then next organ is hypopharynx. It is a tongue-like organ. The hypopharynx is located medially to the mandibles and maxillae. It is behind the pre-oral cavity and in front of labium. The hypopharynx is mostly membranous and closely associated with salivary glands or the salivary ducts. The hypopharynx functions as tongue moving food around in pre-oral cavity. This is accomplished by muscle attachment that moves it back and forth. So this is the structure of the mouthparts of cockroach. Labrum we can see, it will have sensory setae. Then mandibles, 2 mandibles on both sides. So then after mandibles, 2 maxillae, a pair of maxillae we can see. One is we can have the maxillary pulp, we can see the maxillary pulp, gallia, lecinia and all other parts, stipes, cardo and all various parts. Then labium, the labium is having submentum, mentum and the prementum, and we can see the labial pulp, glossa and paraglossa, everything we can see in this picture. Next one is the again the original photograph of mouth parts of the cockroach. We can see the different structures in the head and also the mouth parts: eyes, antennae, clypeus, then the upper lip labrum, the mandibles, the labial palps, maxillary palps, then the labrum, then the mandibles, maxillae, labium, and the labial palps, the dissected mouth parts of cockroach. Then mouth parts of grasshopper, similarly we can see the labrum, the maxilla, the mandibles, the labium, everything is seen here also.